Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Gabby. In today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about how you can make the world more accessible. So let's get into it. The first thing I will say is alt text. Now you're probably thinking, what the heck is alt text? Well, alt text allows those with visual impairments to be included when it comes to social media. We have easier access and we understand what's being shown in a picture or a meme or even a video. So, how can you add alt text to your social media? Well, it's super easy. After you create a new post and you add your caption, before you finish, editing all of it and you share it, scroll to where it says advanced, click on write alt text, and in there you can add a very detailed yet short description of what's being shown in your picture or meme. This doesn't work with videos, but in your caption, after you've written out your caption and whatever else, you can say something like video description, or if you don't want to add alt text, you can say picture description. And the thing is with alt text, a lot of sighted people, from my understanding, are a little skeptical about using it because they think that, oh, if I use alt text, like, are other sighted people going to see it? No. Sighted people can still see your picture, but this is really only meant for people with screen readers, like VoiceOver, like what I use, that aren't really able to have that access like a sighted person would. So I really highly recommend that you all try it. Let me know how it went down below in the comments. And this is the thing with alt text, you don't need to be super lengthy, because since we're using a screen reader, it can get super, annoying sometimes to have to hear a very long, super long, detailed alt text description. So instead of doing that, just make it detailed. Make sure you include all the important things in it and make it short. The next thing on my list is audio description. Audio descriptions are so important. I talked about it in this video, up in the cards and down below in the description, because blind people watch TV and movies as well, and we like films and we like all of that stuff like any other person would. So there's only one service at this moment that has audio description for all of their TV shows and movies. Well, for most of them, I guess. And that's Netflix. And there is a separate streaming service for blind people, which I will link down below if you've never heard of it. And it's mostly audio, so if you wanted to watch a movie with somebody else, they wouldn't be able to see it if they wanted to see it. But you could also, make it a game. Challenge them to see if they would be interested in listening to the audio description versus watching the movie or TV show. So adding audio description to your content, to your films, your TV shows, your movies, it really does make us visually impaired people feel included. And we want to be able to have access to those things, to be able to watch things, and enjoy it. The next thing on the list is Braille signs. So Braille signs are not found in every building, at least not in any building that I've ever been in, but like for instance, my school, when I got there was no Braille signs to be found anywhere, until I decided to start labeling the doors of the classrooms that I had to go to around campus. I even labeled the elevator because we had like two different banks of elevators, and I was able to kind of do that project. But the thing is that usually with the Braille label, it would fall off or people would take it off of the thing. So I needed to make sure that they had a more permanent Braille sign for people that are visually impaired like myself. And so I headed to facilities and I told them, listen, there needs to be Braille signs throughout this building because there's zero to be found anywhere. And then they really started working on it. If you don't have those things, if you don't have access to those things in your school or even your office building, just keep advocating for that, because that is something that you need. And maybe you don't need it. Maybe you have the ability to just be like, oh yeah, like I'm okay, I can do this. But for a lot of the people, for most people, sometimes you get lost and you need a braille sign, and even better than that, you need a braille map. So to anybody from my school that is watching this, I don't think anybody is, but from anybody that works at my school, I really strongly encourage you to place a braille map somewhere in the building, and let those with disabilities, those with visual impairments know, okay, this is where you can find the braille map. But also, don't just have it in one place. Put it in different places throughout the building. So I think it's important to have them throughout the building, not just in one designated place, because then we can say, okay, yeah, now I can find this thing easily, and we feel more included, and we are being included when it comes to that. So just wanted to say that. Next, better training for faculty. This is important to me because throughout school I dealt with a lot of issues, and I've talked about a lot of them on my channel. And when I'm saying this, like, this is not to bash anybody, I'm just making a statement about this. I had to deal with professors who were not accommodating. I struggled to get the materials that I needed in order for me to be able to succeed throughout school. And accessibility was just not something that was very present in my school. So I think making sure that faculty has better training is so important, because this doesn't even have to be in a school situation. Even in an office building, even though I know a lot of people are working remote jobs now, but still, to anybody in college right now, or anybody that's about to transition into college, fight for those things. Those are things that you need. Those aren't things that you want, or that you just thought of immediately, like, that you were like, oh yeah, like that would be cool. Those are things that you need. So really fight for those things, really push to make sure that you have access to those things. And to anybody working in a faculty setting or any of those things, make sure you sit down with your faculty at least once a month to train them and to have conversations about disability and having access, making sure those with disabilities have access to the things that they need. Okay, make sure blind people are included when it comes to TV and movies as well as films. This is something I actually talked about with a couple friends over up there and down below in the description, so check that out. But what this does is, one, we feel included. I'm talking about inclusion here, everybody. These things are so important. Too many times do I find sighted people trying to play the role of a disabled character. You're not doing us any justice. That's the thing. I think that when you have somebody that's actually living with a disability, knows the lifestyle, can actually help you, the director or the producer, to really push for that in your industry, it's like, I feel like you'll get better results, personally speaking, because as someone who actually wants to act, I find that there's so many people who are like, no, because of the fact that, oh, like, this person is disabled. But here's the thing, you still want to add disabled characters to your films and to your TV shows and to your movies. So why not have the person that actually knows the lifestyle, knows how to do those things better, actually participate in that industry and in that film, in those films, those TV shows, and those movies. If you want to hear more about that conversation, be sure to check that video out that I did with my friends. Also, what that does is it makes other directors and producers who are either, friends of those directors and producers, or who are watching those films and TV shows and movies, it will let them know, like, oh, I should start doing that for my stuff. Because now they're going to start seeing, like, oh, well, if they can include those people, well, now I know I can include those people. Here's the thing, we're just like you, and we want to be seen and heard. So when you start turning away people who want to be in your film and TV show and whatever else, then it's like you don't really, personally, from what I've seen on Netflix and TV, your films don't really get the same results because you're adding in people who have no idea what type of, lifestyle disabled people live and how we do things. So it really just kind of is disrespectful, if you ask me. But yeah, I think this next one is so important, and there's literally only one place in the world that I know of that actually has this already in place. And if you guys know of more places, let me know down below. Making more products braille and tactile. So only L'Occitane has this in place. I hope I said that right. It's the French company with the really nice stuff, which I really love buying from. L'Occitane has all of their products in braille. You can read every single bottle within that store if you were to walk in. I remember a couple of years ago I actually went to L'Occitane and I bought a lotion, and on the lotion I think it said something like almond something body oil or body lotion, and I was so happy because you don't find that in a lot of places, especially not in America. I think most of these things are found in other parts of the world, like France. London, I heard, has, a lot of things that are tactile and braille. And even in Italy, I had a friend who went to Italy. He's from Italy, him and his girlfriend, and he came back and he had a bottle, like I guess it was like a medication or something, and it was in braille, but it was Italian braille. But nonetheless, it was braille. So that blind person in Italy can now be like, oh, I could read this. I could do this. I don't have to worry about asking somebody else to read me what's on my pills or what's on my medication. And that made me happy because he was like, I thought about you when I was buying this, like I needed my medication for something. And I was like, oh my God, like that's amazing. And he showed me the box and it had braille on it. And I was like, well, what does this, like, what does it say? Because he had it in print as well. He was like, oh, it just has like the directions and, the name of the medication and everything. I was like, what? I was like, that is amazing. Keep in mind, he's not even blind, he's sighted. So it made me really happy. And even when I found L'Occitane and I learned that they had added, things to make their products more accessible, I was like, oh wow, like I didn't know that there were places in the world that actually thought about those things and thought about the importance of it. Because the truth is, as a blind woman, I love shopping, and I love fashion, and I love, going into a store and just being able to pick up a product. But the issue is that when there's no braille and there's no tactile markings, it makes that harder for a blind person because we're not being considered, we're not being included in that decision. So just want to push that and stress the importance of that. The next one is captions. I personally don't know much about captions, but the thing is that I have been around people who require captions. And from what they've told me, I think that this is something that needs to be improved, because even here on like YouTube, for instance, when people add captions to their videos and things, it isn't always clear for someone who requires those. So just making sure that your captions are clear and detailed and concise is really important for anybody that requires them, because now when you don't have clear and detailed captions for someone, it makes them not feel super included, which is kind of hard, because if that's something that they really, really, really need, then they're going to struggle a lot more to really understand what, the thing that they're trying to watch or, read. The last one on this list is educate yourself. I made this YouTube channel because my goal was to spread awareness to the blind community by talking about the challenges and the great things that come with being blind. I wanted to educate but also have fun, because the truth is, I am so much more than my disability. So, there's many other content creators in the world who are doing such an amazing job at talking about their stories and educating people. Even for those, like I mentioned before, training your faculty, by the time you're done with your training, if you still have questions, Google things. Go on YouTube, find a content creator that you're like, oh, like I can listen to this person, I can watch their videos. Get educated on disability rights and things that those with disabilities require and need. Even to you guys watching, I really want to stress that I'm not the only content creator in the world doing this. There's other people that I've linked in my channel's channel feature of this channel, who I really think are making really good content and really trying to also make the world more accessible for people. So be sure to check those people out. Also be sure to share this video with your friends, with people on social media, because the more that you guys spread the word, the more that we can start really putting these things into practice and making the world more accessible, one person at a time. So I just want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.